Hi, I'm Nicholas Edwards, the producer,
And I'm Mike, the tech lead.
and this is an introduction to the mechanics of perfection.
The player starts in Marshall's apartment, a place where they can choose and start missions. The player can use the TV to see a preview scene explaining the next mission.
The player's weapons are divided into categories and they can only have one from each of these. The player can switch their weapons through the use of the use button.
The player can also holster the weapon. This is to remain discreet and not to alert citizens or cause suspicion.
They can then use the pinboard to start the mission. The player can now scout out a level and prepare their plans for when the target arrives. The player also has a map to help this.
They can start by taking a good look around the level. Any object the player can interact with glows, and an on-screen message gives information. These glows are colour-coded for clarity. Red gives an item, in this case the train ticket, to get into the main station without alerting guards. Orange toggles the status of something, while green denotes somewhere the player can hide and end the level.
By using this, the player has set off the fire alarm to clear the station.
They can now get into other parts of the station without being caught. So although Perfection is an attempt at a sandbox game, we have added a number of pre-scripted elements to these levels. And then you don't have to use them, they're just there to, vary the kill a bit. So you're seeing an example of this right now. What we're doing here is tampering with the security system, so the target will be trapped on the day of the hit. So if you take a look at the map there, it shows all kinds of useful information. For example, the area of escape is just over this fence. The player can also alter the placement of physics props, which will carry over to the hit day. Here the player is preparing a quicker way of escape.
Finally, at certain endpoints, the player can set where along the route the target will start. Here they are setting it for near the end, to set in with their station plan.
The player is now on the hit level, and all their plans have been transitioned over.
The player's earlier actions have caused the lockdown and stopped the target from escaping. Icons have appeared on the screen now, displaying that firstly, the player is under suspicion and being chased by the police, and secondly, to confirm the target's death.
Because the player was seen, they now have to escape from the police.
Using their pre-planning though, they can use a shortcut that they set up earlier.
After holding out for long enough, the mission is complete and the escape is successful.
Finally, in the realms of Marshall's mind, the player's run-through is evaluated.
So now we're going to do the good old-fashioned way of killing people in assassination games, which is sniping. So we've gone to a tall building and you take an aim there. But as you can see, he's being shot at horribly from counter-snipers. Because he's being protected by the police, obviously they'll have their presence there. And because he's a very important person, they'll want to keep him alive. Now just because he's been detected doesn't mean the level's over. He's still got a chance at killing him and escaping. But of course, if he doesn't manage to do that, and if the target does escape to his car, then it's all over. So you've seen a bit of sniping, a bit of failing, a bit of succeeding. We're going to show you now how different items throughout the level can interact with different objects. Case in point, we've got this wrench here, and we're going to use this to unbolt a signpost or a billboard. This time the player has used a wrench to unbolt the sign. However, instead of pushing it over on the hit day, they have pushed it over now. One of the ways we've added options to the Players of Perfection is by adding these hide points, which are symbolised with these green glows. What these do is allow the player to hide there until the day of the hit. Essentially, in layman's terms, you can spawn at that location on the day of the hit. Now, you think about it, doesn't necessarily have to be in a construction yard in this case. It could be in a tower block, and that tower block may be overlooking the path of the target. So instead of having to run from your car all the way up the tower block, you can just spawn there, get ready, and do your thing. The fallen sign has closed off the road on the original route.
This has forced the target onto an alternative route, which has allowed the player to take out the target and his guards at once by blowing up a petrol pump.